guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my January 2025 TBR. So I have taken 3 weeks off to kind of take a break, I guess. And so I think I'm going to be back. I was going to film this yesterday when I actually had daylight and stuff, but it's after work on Thursday. And I just decided to film when I got home. That's kind of how I really had cute bangs earlier, but the rain and wearing my hard hat and being on the forklift in the rain kind of damaged that. So I apologize for that. And my lighting, because there is no light. As you can see, there's barely anything in the sky. So I'm going to do this really quick. My TBRs might be different more in the future. I'm still working on what I want to do this year. I haven't figured out my goals. I haven't really figured out a lot of stuff that I want to do, but I felt the urge to film, and I hadn't felt that. As I said, even yesterday, I didn't feel like that. So I'm just going to jump in and just do it. And even if this is bad quality, hey, this is what you get after 3 weeks. And hopefully the next video I will do a little bit better. But I just want to get the TBR out there because I feel like I am at loose ends because I did not make a TBR yet. And even though that means I free reign, mood read, I like having a pile of possibilities of ones I'm kind of narrowing in on. And as I said, I want to make some changes to my TBRs going forward. And this month is kind of a trial run of some of that. So anyway, let's just get into it. So I will have a video talking about, you know, other things going on, but let's just do the TBR today. That's about all I can. And Cooper is already upset because, again, I'm not on the couch. So I only had one required read for January. I'm doing my buddy read with Berna at Burnish Bookish Adventures. We are still reading the Love at Stake series. We are on book number 15, which is How to Seduce a Vampire Without Really Trying by Carolyn Sparks. So, as I said, we're really far into the this paranormal romance series. We're really having fun. I mean, it's not the perfect series, but it's just a fun ride. And I'm curious how this is going to go by which character is, because he's one of those ones who's been kind of in the background and we don't know a lot about him. So I'm really curious, but he's one of the older vampires and stuff. So kind of curious on how that goes. So anyway, we'll be reading that starting this weekend and going into early next week. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So that is the only thing I have to read. I am in the middle of a few things. I am technically in the middle of The Hurricane Wars by Thea. Oh, I don't remember how to say her name. I'm looking at it. My brain just isn't computing the way it's said. Anyway, I have this on Kindle as well as an audiobook from the library, the Kindle I own. So it's part of my own TBR. So I'm reading it kind of back and forth. It just matters on how I'm feeling. Like I exercised this morning, so I used the audiobook. But anyway, so I'm about 18% into that, so I'm not super far. I think I'm still less than 100 pages in, but I am enjoying that. I'm not sure about this fantasy romance. I know there's supposed to be like Raylo kind of vibes, and I can kind of see that. And something just happened that I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I wasn't expecting that. So we'll see how that goes. So, and I'm also still in the middle of Elantris. I did not get to finish this by the end of the year. So I still am only 90 pages in. So I do want to finish that this month at some point. At some point, I'm just going to take some time and finish this. I have it on audio as well. I think Michael Kramer does the audio. So anyway, Elantris is Brandon Sanderson's first published novel. This is a book that I tried many years ago, probably close to when it came out, and I just didn't get into it. I'm 90 pages in. I'm much farther than where I stopped the last time. I think the last time I was just reading too many books, which happens. And so this is about a city that had a catastrophe that happened, and there is some kind of disease that happens, and people who get it are thrown into Elantris, and there's like a lot of political stuff in this. And then there's a woman who came to be the bride of somebody who was thrown into Elantris, and so now she's kind of navigating how things have changed politically. So anyway, as I said, I'm only 90 pages in, but I do want to finish that in January. And then just really quickly, I would like to finish some of my rereads that I'm in the middle of so I can continue the series. Both of these are the books that I need to finish my reread of to continue on to the next book in the series. The first one is Heart of Iron by Beck McMaster. This is the second book in the London steampunk series. And so I have all the books in this series. This is a series where I got to this book and then I set it down for some reason years ago. So I reread the other books in here, the book and the novella that come before this. And then, so I need to finish this reread. I started it like in the summer. So I just need to finish it. I just haven't got to it. And I'd really like to finish The 5 Greatest Warriors by Matthew Riley. This is book 3 and the Jack West Jr. action adventure series. There's a lot of military action and kind of like prophecies from ancient times, and it's really cool about different locations and different historical figures. And then there's all the action. These are really fast paced. I just have to sit down and read it. And again, the chapters are super short and a lot of diagrams. They're just fun. But I want to finish this book so I can continue the series, which I have not in many years. So, and this book I started as a reread like over a year ago. So I need to finish that reread so I can continue on. And then I'm also kind of curious to start another reread of the Destroyer Man series. First book is Into the Storm by Taylor Anderson. This is a 15-book series, which I keep reading the first 3 books and then not continuing. And I don't know why that is, but I love the first 3 books. So I went to start book 3 because I had reread this in 2020 and then Crusade in 2021. And then I've had Maelstrom sitting on my shelf to read, like out in my TBR shelf since then. And I haven't picked it up. This year I was supposed to, or 2024 I was supposed to do it, and I didn't get to it. And now I want to reread the series again because it's been too long. I started that one and I went, oh, but I want to reread the other books. So this might be a reread that I maybe read one a month. We'll try. Anyway, but this is really cool. This is an alternate history where a group of destroyers from World War II get sent to kind of an alternate universe where evolution happened a different way. And they meet allies, but there are people who are things that are after them. And then there's also some other ships that went at the same time that they were battling in World War II. So it's really an interesting series. I really like it, but I really need to continue it. So, and then the last reread I'm going to try to get to is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'd like to read this, finish Iron Flame, which I've never finished because I even reread this in 2023 to read Iron Flame. And then because everybody was just whining about it, I couldn't read it. Like I was listening too much to people. I wasn't listening to why they didn't like it or what their problems were with it. I don't actually know what the problems are with it. I just couldn't get through it because I had a little trouble with one character early on, and I was just like, oh, do I really want to read this about this person? Not one of the main characters from this book to that book. It was a newer character. Anyway, so I want to reread this. I do have the audiobooks for these as well, so I could do it audio. I'd like to reread this and then read Iron Flame and then be ready for Onyx Storm that comes out on the 21st. But we will see how that goes. And then I'd like to read some more translated works and more nonfiction and more classics in my reading. I think last year my numbers are really low on anything that's nonfiction or classics or translated work. And I used to read my numbers were much higher than they were now. Now, the only reason why my numbers in 2024 would be high on translation is because I read a lot of manga. But taking that aside, I meant books as in, novels. And I'm hoping this year to bump up that and then also add more nonfiction in, because I used to read a lot more nonfiction and that has kind of dropped by the wayside. So I'm hoping to read a couple of books of both of those. I only picked one of each. There's other ones that are kind of on my standbys. I thought this was getting long enough, but I'm going to try, is it Callocane by Karen Boy. She wrote this between Brave New World came out and 1984. So this is another dystopian. I've read all the classics except for this one, I think, that I know about. I'm sure there's others, but I've read the big ones like Brave New World, 1984, and now my brain is blanking out. I know I've read a couple other ones, but this is one I found out about, I think this last year. And I really want to read it just to kind of collect this one. I don't know. I can't remember where this author is. A Swedish author. And so I think this was written, earlier. I can't remember now. It's as I said, it's translated from the Swedish, from what I understand. And 1940 is when it came out. So anyway, I don't know anything about this, just that it has a world state and it's trying to crush the individual entirely. I don't know anything else. I don't love dystopian novels, but I just feel like I need to read the classics of them. I don't know why that is. Maybe I just want the references, from 1984 and Brave New World. And I've gotten in other books, they've brought stuff up and I'm like, I know what that is. So maybe how I feel that way. So anyway, I'm going to try this one that I have on my shelf so this is my classic and translated work. Is that right? Yeah. Well, and then there's one more translated work, but this is really, I'm going to do this, but I'm hoping to get to some other, I bought a lot of translated stuff at the end of the month of December. My book haul is going to be a lot bigger than I thought it would be, but anyway, it was the end of the year. Anyway, so I'm hoping to read that. And then nonfiction, I decided to pick this one up because I read a David Lynch novel last week, or earlier this week, and it reminded me of Twin Peaks. And then I remembered this book, Murder at Teal's Pond, which is by David Bushman and Mark T. Givens. But the foreword is by Mark Frost, because this murder is supposed to be one of the inspirations for the Laura Palmer part of, not all the whole story, but part of the story. And so I'm curious to see what actually happened. This was I thought it was in the 20s, but I'm not, 1908. So it's even farther back than I thought. So it's a murder of a young woman and the secrets that happen. So I have this physically as well as on audio. So that's going to be my nonfiction for this month. At least I'm going to try to at least read one. I'm trying to get certain things more into my, as I said, to read more things off my shelf, because I have a lot of stuff that I'm not reading in the last couple of years because I've been following more trends that I want to. So this year I'm trying to read stuff off my shelf. These are all off my shelf. And then the only one that is not on my shelf, and not something I own, but it's a companion to a series I've already read and reread in December, which is Cardcaptor Sakura. This is the Clear Card series. So this one is still being, I think this is still being published at this point. I did not know that. I did not know this existed until last month. And I was kind of stunned to know that there's this whole story of Cardcaptor Sakura that I did not know. So I, as I said, reread the ones I have, the first 12 volumes. So now there are 16, I think 16's coming out soon, or it just came out. I can't remember how it goes. Anyway, I got the first 8 from the library, so I'm going to read them that way. I'm not going to buy them yet because this might just be a one and done series for me, because Cardcaptor Sakura is one of the first ones that I bought and read back in the the late 90s. So, in early 2000s. So we'll see. So, as I said, this is one of the young girl, magical girl series where she is trying to collect cards in the first part of the series. And she's like a 5th grader, but, it's just fun. I just like the characters and everything. So again, Clamp is one of my favorite, authors of manga. I think I've bought or read almost everything by them now. But I didn't know Clear Card existed until I was looking at this last month. So anyway, that is the only thing I have from the library that is something not off my shelf. So that is it. That is all the books. I mean, there's probably more things that I want to read. I'm still in the middle of like 2 other books that I started in December, and I'm just just chipping away at them. And I don't know, there's more stuff I probably want to read. Like, I know I want to read the Sarah Adams Beg, Borrow, or Steal when it comes out. And probably the next Wayward Children, Adrift in Waters Clear and, I don't know. I don't remember the name of the title. But anyways, book 10 and the Wayward Children. Both of those are coming out early in the month. And I have pre-orders for those already. So I might read, I think the Sarah Adams is this month. Actually, I'm not getting confused. Is that February? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. If it's, if I get to it, I get to it. I did almost pull, a contemporary romance as well, but you know what? I don't know. I might start one tonight. Matters how I feel now that I've done this. So anyway, I'm a little rusty, but that is my pile of possibilities for January. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I could read that I own. Again, this year is, I'll talk more about it when I finally get to my goals and stuff. But to be where I was kind of going at before I took my hiatus is that I want to read more stuff off my shelf and just read to what I feel like reading and not what everybody else is reading. But I'm still very prone to picking up books that everybody else is reading because, again, I want to reread Fourth Wing and finally finish Iron Flame so I can be ready for Onyx Storm, because I don't want to have what happened last time where I got discouraged to read that book because everybody else was, or not everybody, lots of people loved it and lots of people were upset about it. And I don't know why, and I don't want to know. Anyway, and I did say that that's like a fantasy romance with a school and dragon riders, and it's great. Anyway, at least the first book, for sure. The second book, we'll see. So anyway, that's it. What are you reading in January? Again, this is a little late, but oh well. At least I got something done. And again, it's, been a few weeks, so I'm a little rusty. So anyway, I will check in with you guys hopefully very soon. Bye.